Hello friends, in this lecture we will study the basics and concepts of molecular biology. I have started this series of lectures on molecular biology named Basics and Concepts, What is What? And in this first part of the series we will see what are nucleic acids. So here is the first lecture titled Introduction to Nucleic Acids. So first of all we must understand what is molecular biology. Now molecular biology is a branch of biochemistry which deals with macromolecules, of which three, DNA, RNA and proteins, are studied in particular. So it's a branch of biochemistry dealing with three macromolecules: DNA, RNA and proteins. Why only these three molecules? Because cells have several types of macromolecules. Macromolecules are molecules which are more than 1 kd in molecular weight, and there are so many of these macromolecules. Then why only DNA, RNA and proteins are studied in particular? It is because DNA, RNA and proteins are linear polymers. These do not have branches. Other macromolecules like carbohydrate or lipids or other complex molecules, these all have branches, and that is why these three, DNA, RNA and proteins, are linear molecules, number one. And number two, since these molecules are linear and these can make intramolecular hydrogen bonds, these are three molecules which exist or which can form regular secondary structures. We'll see what are regular secondary structures, but regular secondary structures are found in only these three molecules, and that's why these three molecules we study in molecular biology. Now to understand what are regular secondary structures, we must know what is the primary structure first. So in any polymer, in any macromolecule, the sequence in which the monomers are arranged in a polymer is called its primary structure. So what are the macromolecules and how big are they, and why these are so different? So why these are so different? Because in general macromolecules have very high molecular weight, as I have just explained you in last slide. These are more than 1 kd. 1 kd means 1000 Dalton. Physical and chemical properties changes dramatically with size. For example, solubility is reduced when size increases, and all polymers are characterized by very low solubility. As you know, glucose is highly soluble in water, but you see if its polymers like starch and glycogen, these are not soluble in water. So as molecular weight increases, solubility goes on decreasing. So physical and chemical properties are affected by increasing molecular weights. So most macromolecules fold if they can form intramolecular hydrogen bonds. If the folding is regular, it is referred to as the secondary structure. Other non-covalent bond may further stabilize the secondary structure, and here one very important thing which you might have noticed, that in secondary structures these are non-covalent bonds which stabilizes secondary structures. These are not covalent bonds, and that is why hydrogen bonds are so important, because these are the major non-covalent bonds stabilizing secondary structures. So whenever you think about secondary structure, it is folding in primary structure, and this folding is stabilized by hydrogen bonds and non-covalent bonds only. Hydrogen bonds and other non-covalent interactions are affected by three factors, in particular temperature, pH and salt concentrations. So if we change these three, any of these three or the combination of these three, then the structure of these three molecules will be affected, and that is why we use these three parameters: temperature, pH, and salt and concentration in the experiments of molecular biology to manipulate the structures. Of these three factors listed above, the temperature is widely used in experiments to denature the DNA and RNA, while proteins are denatured by manipulating pH and ion concentration. So these three are very important parameters, and make a note of it. So how big macromolecules are? Now proteins are made up of few to several hundred amino acids, while nucleic acids are made up of few to several thousand nucleotides. Amongst these three, if we go by molecular weight, DNA is the largest macromolecule amongst the three. So when we say DNA is the largest macromolecules, you must wonder how big it is. Now to show how big it is, what I can do, I can just take some data of DNA, RNA and protein, and we can compare the molecular weights, but that's the very boring way to do that, to do this. And I think visualizing a thing would make it very clear to you, and it may change your perception also. So let's go to the next slide and see a diagram, a photograph rather. Look at this. This is, you can see a bacterial cell, the red cell in the center of the diagram, and actually it is put in hypotonic solution. So the concentration of solution outside is very low as compared to cytoplasm. So cytoplasm is hypertonic and the outside solution is hypotonic. So what happens, that water will enter the cell and cell will burst, and that is what has happened with this cell. It is burst, and there are so many pores in the cell wall, and out of these few pores, you can see this thread-like structure is coming out. This is nothing else but a single chromosomal DNA which has opened from the supercoiling, and that is why it is it has come out and spread everywhere. Now you can see how big it is. Such a big molecule, and that is why it is coiled, supercoiled. It is bigger than the cell itself, much bigger than the cell itself, and it is packed in a very small area of the cell. So just like a rope, if we want to pack a big rope in a small bag, we have to fold it, and we have to fold it very tightly. Just like that, this DNA is folded and folded, and actually coiled and coiled and super coiled actually, to fit it in a very narrow, a very small area of the cell. So this is the DNA, this is the biggest molecule. Now we come to a very important term which is called central dogma, or the roadmap of the life. It was first proposed by Crick, and later on it was extended by Mund, who introduced reverse transcription. We'll see it later. Now at the center you can see it shows that from DNA RNA is produced, from RNA proteins are produced. So synthesis of RNA from DNA is called transcription, and there is a circular arrow which shows that DNA producing same DNA. This is called replication. So replication is DNA dependent DNA synthesis. Transcription is DNA dependent RNA synthesis. See, it is from DNA, RNA is produced. Then translation is RNA dependent polypeptide synthesis, and then there is another type of DNA synthesis which is called reverse transcription. It is RNA dependent DNA synthesis. Now what happens, there are two terms, transcription and reverse transcription, and reverse transcription gives us an impression that it is sort of reverse reaction of transcription. No, it is not. Transcription is a separate process with separate mechanisms, separate a different you can say enzyme, substrate and product, while the reverse transcription has different set of enzymes, substrate and product. And even the DNA and RNA produced by even the RNA produced by transcription and DNA produced by reverse transcription are two entirely different kind of molecules. So everything is different. So these two are two different reactions with different mechanisms altogether. So these two are not actually reverse reactions. So reverse transcription is not that accurate term, and it is DNA dependent RNA dependent DNA synthesis. I'm sorry. So that's it. That will be all for today, and thanks for watching this lecture. Let me end it now.